Welcome back to the channel, guys. I wanted to make an official video here on YouTube, and looking back as I take just a minute to reflect, I do wish I made this same video that I did on Instagram and on Instagram threads on YouTube. But to give you all some context, on Christmas, which was December 25th, I made an announcement on my Instagram that I was going to start or begin this 30-day health optimization challenge. Now, for those of you that may or may not know, I'm a health coach. I focus and primarily work with people in performance-oriented roles, whether that be salespeople, entrepreneurs, or even top-level executives, where their output and their leadership is dependent on not on how they can perform and how they feel. I typically tend to help these people just optimize and really dial into things that they're already doing, how they're eating, how they're sleeping, how they're exercising, their environment, their relationships, and really using data from blood testing, also from sleep trackers like either a Whoop or an Oura Ring, to really dial in their health to get them feeling at their best, so everything that they do is at their best. Now, with that being said, I originally started the 30-day challenge, I believe December 30th, and a few days here and there, it was just a bit hard to stay consistent because the high performance lifestyle is very demanding, and if it is not a lifestyle, if it's more of just a choice, it's going to be very hard. And what I did was I set out on a journey to optimize my personal health and document my journey for 30 days. I had one objective and simply just one goal, and that was to take my health from where it was, which was a fairly decent baseline. I was experiencing some energy crashes in the afternoon. I would sleep maybe 8-9 hours, but still wake up a bit groggy. I didn't have so much brain fog, but a few days a week, I definitely still felt it. And it took me a little while to get into the groove. And for me, if I can get up and just be ready to go, it would be such a huge help. And I actually did successfully accomplish that multiple days, in fact, multiple weeks in a row. So I say that to say, I didn't start in a terrible, terrible place, but I also didn't start in a great place where I wasn't able to see a lot of improvements. I was somewhere right in the middle, and in doing that, I was able to see drastic changes to the positive and increase, and also when there was a lack of consistency, and when I didn't prioritize things like winding down at night so I can ease properly into sleep, I noticed a difference in the day after, and even a further difference in the days after that if I didn't get back on track. And what that allowed me to do was analyze and take my personal feedback on how I felt and combine that with the data that I was getting from my blood testing that was telling me about my gut microbiome, my cognitive performance and my health, as well as even my oral health, and also combine that with what my sleep tracker was telling me. I tracked these things using spreadsheets, and I really started to say, okay, on the days I didn't feel so great, what was the data telling me? And just the opposite, on the days I felt great, what did that data look like? And the more days that I had, I started seeing patterns. Sometimes certain phases of sleep were highly increased, that when I woke up, I felt a bit more well-rested, and I was way faster as far as getting to my day and just getting right after it. And I noticed sometimes if I didn't have a pre-sleep wind down routine, it'd be a lot harder to get going in the morning, and I'd be a lot more easily distracted, and I'd be far more irritable and have way more mood swings. So the beautiful thing was I went from an average place, and the way I like to put this is life didn't get any easier, but I became more equipped. And what I mean by that is through health optimization, this is something that you can't buy, my friend. This is something that a lot of people don't care about, or they don't take care of, quite frankly, until shit hits the fan. God forbid somebody ends up in the hospital, you go for a routine checkup, something comes up that's a bit out of the norm, now you gotta get some extra testing, you're hoping the doctor calls you with some good news. What if there wasn't a need for that? What if you could really understand your own biology through proper testing? What if you could document how you feel, match the two together, and put yourself in a position to where you match your lifestyle and your needs and your desires with what your body also needs, so you work together in one, in a sync, and that is when you really are able to create a movie. Now, I want to go over some of the drastic differences that I felt more than others, and again, this happened over the course of 30 days. Now, the biggest thing that I noticed off the top was my improvement in my sleep. I knew that if I improved my sleep, it would have a ladder of positive effects into the other realms. Now, primarily, what I focus on with my clients is our sleep, our nutrition. Down the line, we also follow supplementation in case there's some gaps that we can't get from our daily whole food consumption of our nutrition. And then of course our exercise and our movement, those are our 3 core pillars. Then we have the added ones that are just as important, such as mindset, our environment, and the relationships that are in our life. Now, with that being said, before I even got my Oura ring, so this was when I ordered it, but I didn't receive it yet, I really started to focus on, okay, I know I just can't have a crazy stressful day or be working at night, looking at the screens, and then go right to sleep. I did understand you can't go from 60 miles an hour on the highway as an example to pulling right into the garage without braking. So I knew that for me, like a warm shower, I never knew would help me for sleep for scientific reasons, but it just helped me kind of wind down. So I started taking a warm shower, time that I just couldn't find to read during the day. I need to read a chapter or 2 at night. And these things weren't really very cognitively demanding. What they allowed me to do was wind down and allow my brain to settle down, go into a calm state. So when I did enter my bedroom, which I only use for sleep, that's it, nothing more. As you can see, I have my office here for working. I have my living room for chilling, spending family time, conversational. I have my dining room, my kitchen for eating. My bedroom is specifically for sleeping, nothing more. I don't hang out in there, I don't watch TV shows in there, I don't talk and chit chat in there, I don't work in my room, I'm there to sleep, okay? Now, the first thing that I noticed was I was able to wake up and the pace at which I was able to move and just slice through my routines and get right to the needle moving work that's gonna further grow my business, further grow my personal development. I was very easy to cross into that time zone, not feeling distracted and feeling like my day was fully in my control and what I wanted to get done, as long as I had enough hours in a day, I could do it. The second thing I noticed was the quality of my work. There's been many times I've gone and set a timer for 2-3 hours and I work for that and try to do maybe like 2 of those blocks during the day. And although I'd be productive, I still wouldn't necessarily get really that much done as far as like on a progress scale. However, now understanding the science behind things like focus and productivity, I know that really mostly every human, some that train this muscle are going to be able to do it for longer, of course, just like anything else with exercising or running. However, 90 minutes is typically that threshold to which maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes, maybe a bit longer when you're first starting, it takes your body a bit of time to enter into flow state. And then typically the latter 10 minutes of that 9 minutes, you might feel a little bit of a drop in energy. It might be a bit easier to get distracted. So at that point, that's when I kind of just pause what I'm doing. I don't go to my phone. Maybe I go for a brief walk outside. Maybe I do some stretching. Me personally, I like to do some burpees, some jumping jacks, maybe some shadow boxing. Get my heart rate up, take a few deep breaths. If I'm sore from the gym, which is pretty occasional, I'll go ahead and stretch to make sure I'm getting all that blood flow. And then I'll get right back to work. And I'll do another 90-minute bout. And more importantly, the quality of that work and the speed and pace I was able to move at within that 90-minute block was highly accelerated. And that allowed me to move from day to day, making progress almost every single day. And for me, just like you, time flies incredibly fast. And if I'm not making the best use of that time, it pisses me off and I get very upset. Time is my currency, not money, not a lot of these other things. It's time. I can't get that back, at least not right now in my life. So those were the biggest things that I noticed up front. I'd say after about maybe just over 2 weeks in, I really started to notice more emotional changes, specifically coming from my sleep. And I was really already eating a pretty much higher quality diet. I was eating whole foods. I'm not really with the processed sugars. I would put some sugar in my morning coffee. That is my downfall. I will admit that. But really, more or less, I wasn't eating much candy, not many desserts. Every once in a while, maybe I'd have like a bowl of cereal, but nothing really too crazy. However, the testing that I did for my gut and through my blood testing, that happened to show me that although my diet was good, I wasn't eating the foods that are actually most beneficial for my own gut microbiome. So that's where I really made a major shift, was in selecting foods per my own gut microbiome, which the service that I use for me and my clients actually tells us which foods we should avoid, which foods are going to be highly beneficial for our specific bacteria in our gut. We actually have over 3 trillion microbacteria cells in there. And again, like when you hear microbacteria, these are not all bad. Majority of these are good, some are bad. And it gets kind of nerdy with all that science talk, but the basis of this is I was really coming from a decent place with my nutrition. If I was coming from an even worse place, I feel like I would have felt even more results because I would have had more room to grow. But between the sleep being dialed in, and between the nutrition really being personalized to me and my own personal needs, I noticed a very, very big change in my mood. And in particularly, maybe you see this as weird, but I really found a profound joy and fulfillment and kind of just like this easygoing, easy flowing laughter, as you can say. I would often find myself during the day literally doing work, researching something or tying up some loose ends, and I'd find myself laughing at the slightest thing, but it bring me so much joy and happiness, and sometimes it would even last a few minutes, but it wouldn't distract me. Moments when life hit, kind of chaos, busy week, let's say my morning really wasn't smooth and it was kind of just all over the place, whether it was life events or I didn't get a good night of sleep, I noticed that because of that consistency that I had, I was able to adapt to those tougher and more rough days easier, and I was able to really structure my day in a way after seeing some results that would be most optimal for my performance, aka peak performance, doing certain activities at certain times of day where I'm going to be at my peak. For example, scheduling my hardest task that I need to do in the morning to afternoon, because that's when my body temperature is the highest that it is, and that's also typically when my energy levels and my creativity and my mental stamina is also at its peak. So I would then want to put all that energy into my hardest task that's going to move me forward the most. Or maybe this is in your career at work. Maybe that one meeting that is very demanding, that you know if it goes right, it's going to change the game for your business or your company. So these were just a few things that I learned along the way. And what was also crazy was, and this is what I really loved about the 30-day challenge, it wasn't just how great can I get, it's how can we marginally improve a little bit every day, a little bit every few days, and of course a little bit more every week and every week. However, what really got me and I found fascinating was the few days where I was inconsistent. New Year's had passed. There was also like a holiday that came up. I think it was Martin Luther King Jr. I think like a day or two after that, maybe had a bit too much fun. And as a result, I noticed that I was far more irritable, to the point where if something did come up that was stressful, my body's response to reacting and how I was able to adapt to that situation and manage it, I was very, very much more easy to kind of get out of control and be more reactive than I guess you can say proactive. And I also noticed that like my mood overall went from finding those moments of joy to like I was almost looking for negativity. I was looking for something to kind of clinch onto and build a story or a narrative around it that would just sink me into a deeping hole of trying to find more negative sources. And of course, that's no good. We have to catch our mind and be aware of when it does that and remind ourselves to be grateful for what we have. And then shifting to a mode of gratitude helps us kind of get back into a positive flow. But aside from that, going to, the negative sides of it, when I stopped staying consistent, what really helped me along the way was just being flexible with myself. Now, of course, we have our habits that we do on a daily basis. We have certain times that we want to train. Sometimes we don't get to the gym that day. Sometimes we get there. I love to work out in the morning. There was at least 5 or 6 times throughout this month, or January, where I had to go to the gym at night because I just couldn't fit it in the morning. I just had too much going on, or life got thrown at me. And my ability to be flexible with that, understand that this is a lifestyle and it can be highly demanding, but the hours that I put in, the structure that I put in place, it is extremely rewarding. It's going to give me more years in my longevity of my lifespan. It's going to make the quality of those years far higher, and I'm going to be grounded and present in the moment to take advantage and really be grounded in a way to where every moment I'm here for it. I feel it, I can hear it, I can see it. If others are with me, I can connect on a deeper level, which is especially important for meetings and clients and sales, etc. And it was really a game changer for me. I no longer seek pleasure or really fun from these cheap sources. I seek them from meaningful work, meaningful relationships and conversations, meaningful progress. And there's nothing better than looking back on your day, knowing whether I checked off all these habits or not, that I felt great, and that's a result of me doing these pillars every single day. I believe that 30 days is enough time. However, it is not an extensive amount of time to really make a huge shift. I made an incremental shift, do not get me wrong, but to make a huge shift, typically 60 to 90 days is going to be the better and optimal timeline. Funny enough, a lot of your body's natural processes start from cellular metabolism, from things all the way to healing from certain injuries. The body really likes to go in a cycle of 90 days, aka 3 months, which is kind of funny because also those focus cycles are also 90 minutes, right? So I kind of find that funny. But 90 days is typically the optimal time to see big changes and also have those changes be sustainable to where they can last quarter to quarter, month to month, year to year. And in 30 days, I noticed a lot. It was an incredible transformation. I documented my journey every single day of it on Instagram via a reel with a description and on Threads. I broke down my day into multiple different categories, such as, of course, number one being sleep. These are in no specific order, but they're all extremely important. Number one I had on was sleep. Number two was my nutrition and my hydration. Okay, the two go together, they complement each other. Number three was exercise or any form of movement. Number four was my daily habits and my routines, that structure I put in my day. Habit stacking these things together so I can get them done more efficiently and free up more time while still getting these things done. I then followed that by my productivity, and then just an overall summary, more like a wrap up of the day. And then pretty much that was it. And I did that for 30 days. I did not do it 30 days straight. There was times where 2 days kind of got cut off. There was a time where I missed a day. There was a time where I didn't post, that day's progress until the morning after because I was so exhausted and it was already 12 or 1 a.m. when my bedtime was really 10:30. I didn't want to be on my phone even later. But nonetheless, it was a hell of a journey. Looking back at it, I'm so proud of myself and I feel even more fulfilled for really documenting the journey because these things are invaluable. Seeing changes in real time, seeing changes over time. You can't buy this. This has to be done. You need to go through it. You need to feel this. And I hear people say many times, I don't want to try this. I'm not saying that I do this, but, I don't want to try this diet, or no, I just don't think this is for me. And really it's, how do we truly know these things until we try it? We have to go through it. And I can almost promise you, the same way that, going in the gym and seeing results is kind of addicting, or seeing a best friend you haven't seen in months or years and you just want to see more of them after you saw them that first time. When you guys reconnected, this addiction to just constantly getting better and this obsession, it's honestly second to none. It's a beautiful thing. And I mean, what is more worth an investment than into yourself, into your health? Everything you touch turns to gold. Every interaction is beautiful. Every failure or negative lesson is turned into an opportunity for growth. And these all start with what drives everything, and that is our health. So I really want to appreciate you guys if you made it to the end of this video, for hearing me out, listening to my journey. It's been incredible. I feel even more blessed to be in a position to where I can help others go from a state of where they may be in to the state of where I'm at and even further. I feel privileged. I can't wait to have the opportunity to add more value to you guys, whether in the form of free content here on YouTube, whether just short clips of me sharing value on Instagram, maybe even as a client working together with you one-on-one to really dial in your health for peak and optimal performance. Not just so you can perform better in your business and make more money, but so you can make the most of every moment you have in life and overall increase your lifespan longevity, but making the quality of those years so much more higher, fulfilling, and worth your time. With that being said, I thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you soon, and I hope I can continue adding value to you. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your weekend and a great and beautiful, productive week ahead. Stay safe, my friend. I look forward to chatting with you soon. Ciao, ciao.